What is up, my friends? Welcome to Flippin' Bats, where boy oh boy do we have a lot to talk about. Vladdy Jr. signs for 14 years, $500 million extension. A lot of thoughts about that. A lot of thoughts about Vladdy Jr. as a player and this money that he's getting. We'll talk all about that. The Giants are good. We'll talk about the Giants. We'll talk about the Detroit Tigers, Jackson Merrill's extension, Victor Robles' play in right field against the Giants, where if you didn't see it, you should see it. It's an incredible play by Victor Robles in right field against the Giants, but he did end up getting hurt. I have some strong thoughts about this. I posted the video. A lot of people saw it and said, what a great play. Also, like, why are you going that hard early in the season? A lot of thoughts about that. So we'll talk about that, the NL wild card race, and then at the end, run through the new and improved power rankings as well. So let's start with this Vladdy Jr. extension. 14 years, $500 million for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to stay put with the Toronto Blue Jays. No deferrals, just straight cash over the 14 years. Third biggest contract in history, money-wise, this $500 million behind the two that we know. Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto. Now you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s extension. Here's my thoughts on this. I actually think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is fairly underrated in the public eye, whether that be because he plays north of the border, his body type, his weight, his athleticism concerns. But what I would say to that is spare me. This dude's an absolute stud that puts up numbers year in and year out. And you know what I have to say? I actually give Vladimir Guerrero Jr. a lot of credit when it comes to him and his body and athleticism over the last couple of years, because he did come up and there were some concerns about his weight or about his body. And over the last few years, the work that he has put in to get himself into incredible shape, I think deserves a lot of credit. So I say spare me the athleticism conversation and that this dude's going to be out of shape in 7 to 8 years. So what a ridiculous contract. Give this guy credit. Defensively, Gold Glove winner over at first base. Offensive, stud. On the bases, runs the bases really hard. Plays a great defense. And above all else to me, the guy wants to be there. Wants to be in Toronto. Wants to win in Toronto. So I think in the public perception, we got down this weird route of like, yeah, Vladdy's a great offensive player, but like, he's gonna age poorly and his body's not great and his athleticism isn't good. And that just all pisses me off, really. The guy's put in so much work to come into this league and work on his athleticism and his weight and to make himself, in my opinion, an athletic dude. I'm not saying, look, 14-year contract, he's 26 years old. I'm not saying at 40 years old that this contract's going to look great, but the Blue Jays aren't giving you 14 years to look good from years 36 to 40, right? This is a 10-year window that they're giving themselves with Vladdy Jr. from 26 to 36. You're paying him $500 million for the next decade to bring a championship to Toronto. And he wants to be there. He wants to win there. And the guy plays every single day. Look, seventh most homers in Major League Baseball since the start of 2021. Second in plate appearances in that time. Last year, hit 323 with a 940 OPS. Almost won a triple crown in 2021 if it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani. Came in second in the MVP voting that year. Came in sixth in the MVP voting last year. In 4 full seasons in Major League Baseball for Vladdy Jr. He's been an all-star all 4 seasons. There's been elite years, 2021 and 2024. And then there's been some down years for him that resulted in an all-star year. He's young. He's 26 years old. This dude is an absolute stud, and I think he deserved this. I think he's the best first baseman in baseball, and I think this contract reflects that. Now, you could say, if you're a Blue Jays fan or just looking at it from the outside, you could say, well, 500 million is too much. And it really makes me think there are some more team-friendly deals out there. Ronald Acuna Jr. immediately jumps out. Bobby Witt Jr. I think Bobby Witt Jr. could win if, unless Aaron Judge keeps hitting a million homers. Bobby Witt Jr. is my pick to win the AL MVP award. Jackson Merrill's new extension. There's obviously some more team-friendly deals out there for superstars, but if you're the Blue Jays, you can't go throwing around $700 million to Shohei Ohtani and $700 million to Juan Soto. And then when your homegrown superstar that wants to be there is due to get paid, you can't then turn around and say, hey, how's $300 million sound? No, 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 no. That's not how this is going to work. You can't offer those superstars 700 million. And I'm not saying Vladdy Jr. is on the Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto level, but he is an elite superstar in the game. You can't then turn around and be like, "Hey, you're our guy. How about signing for 300 million, 400 million?" No, 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 no. That's not going to work. So this is a good deal, in my opinion, for everybody. Blue Jays get their star for the next 14 years, but he's 26 years old. You're going to get a stud for the next decade. And I like it a lot. This is a starting point, right? It didn't work for the Blue Jays. The roster configuration that you did have when you're in a division with the New York Yankees, when you're in a division with a young, star-studded roster Baltimore Orioles, when you're in a division with the Boston Red Sox, who have really turned things around, you're gonna have to regroup and look at things differently. But what they did was they looked and said, okay, let's just start with a guy that we know will be here for the next decade. Let's bet on our guy, and we're going to make Vladimir Guerrero Jr. our guy. And that's where you start. And then you start piecing around the Anthony Santanders and what do you do with Bo Bichette? I'm not exactly sure. This is all above my pay grade. I don't know what direction they want to go in. But what you can't have if you're the Blue Jays is make this deal and then say, all right, we did it. Let's go win. No, no, no. It hasn't worked with him for the last 5 years. So you have to figure out now, okay, you did bet on your guy. You, of everyone on the roster, went and said, okay, this is where we're going to build. This is who we're building around for the next decade. Now, you just took a window that felt like it was almost closed and turned that window around to, okay, it's creaked back open and let's push it open. So you just kind of, with this deal, flipped on the other side of that, right? The window was closing. It was there. You're no longer the most talented team in the division on paper. You're probably not the third most talented team in the division on paper, but you flipped it around to say, all right, let's open it back up. Vladdy Jr. is the starting point, and let's figure out over the next year or so, figure out a way to revamp what didn't work. Okay, the Kevin Gausman contract, the Jose Barrios, the Bo Bichette, Anthony Santander. You have pieces, but now it becomes like, what do you do? How do you build around this, and how do you go forward from here? But the question now at least feels like from the Blue Jays, the question is, how do we go forward from here? Not how do we scratch and hold on to being any sort of a competitive team in a really good division. I do still think they're a competitive team, but the conversation feels like we're on the forefront of like, all right, where do we go? Where do we go from here now? And at least that's the right conversation to be having, because they weren't going to win the division, and you're probably not a wild card team this year. So the question becomes about find your guy and move forward and figure out from now through the next year to 2 years, figure out how to revamp your organization and revamp your roster and become a good team. And to me, Vladdy Jr. feels like a really good start. The dude's a stud, and I love that he signed there. If you're going to sign with Toronto, you have to do things differently. I do think signing him without any deferred money was vital. Look, it's not an easy place to get players to come. You pay so much in taxes, more than anywhere else. It's just as bad. It's honestly the worst in all of baseball. It's worse than LA. It's terrible. So to get guys, you're gonna have to overpay a little bit because they're gonna lose so much in taxes, and they know that. So it's a hard place to get guys. A lot of credit due to them for giving this money and giving it right now. It could be easy, and I talked about this a couple months ago. What the Blue Jays need to do is sign guys for a boatload of money and defer all the money. Well, they didn't do that here. They didn't defer any money. Vladdy Jr. is getting it all right now, and I think that's a big reason why, not right now, but over the next 14 years. And I think that's a big reason why this deal was able to get done. I did mention Jackson Merrill when I talked about these extensions. Jackson Merrill just signed his 9-year extension for $135 million. What I found interesting and why I want to talk about it briefly is because the lawyers of the Players Union told Jackson Merrill not to take the deal. He obviously did. And what he came out and said was awesome. He said, "I'm right where I want to be." And then I am going to read his quote because I think it's awesome. "I know there's contracts out there that are beyond absurd. There's super amounts of money, but having a relationship with a real human being and a real team like I have here, you can't beat that. You can't just sign for 700 million and want everything to be perfect. I've got people all around the clubhouse that are supporting me, supporting my family. They ask about my personal life every day, so I'm just grateful for that. I know it's going to be the same way for the next 9 years." So people heard those comments and thought, "Oh, look at him throwing shade at Juan Soto." And what I want to make clear is, at least in my eyes, that's not shade at Juan Soto. There's nothing wrong with what Juan Soto did. There's nothing wrong with going out to free agency and getting every dollar amount possible. But there's also nothing wrong with what Jackson Merrill did, and I love it. I love players staying in their market. I think it's great for Major League Baseball and teams and markets when you have a superstar player and they stay there. You rally around that guy, he becomes your favorite player, and then he stays in your organization in your city for a decade to come. I think that's fantastic for baseball. But there is also nothing wrong with a player hitting free agency and saying, "I'm going to sign where I can get the most money and set up my family and the next generation and the next generation forever." That's what I want. Well, Jackson Merrill went out and said, "You know what I want? I want to play somewhere where I'm loved. I want to play somewhere where I'm familiar with. I want to play somewhere that I feel like I'm in the perfect situation. And maybe I'm not getting the top dollar that I could, but this is where I want to be." And if we're talking about the contract in itself, 9 years, 135, well, there's $70 million worth of escalators that he's most likely going to hit, right? So don't look at 9 years, 135 and think, "Oh, what a steal." Look, this is a very friendly, team friendly contract, and he could have gotten a lot more money if everything continued down this route. But his escalators aren't him at like 34 years old saying, "If you hit 500 at bats, we'll give you a couple extra million." No, these escalators are, if you hit 500 at bats through your prime years, you're going to get 700 or $70 million more in your contract. So these escalators are set up for him to hit. I do think he will hit if all goes fine. If he stays healthy, everything's great. Great. He'll hit those escalators and it'll end up over a $200 million contract for 9 years. And that's what he wants. And I absolutely love that. And I love it for the game of baseball. Same with Bobby Witt Jr.'s extension. The guy wanted to be there. He wants to be in Kansas City. He could have, sure, gone to free agency a couple, years down the road and made more money. It's not what he wanted. He wanted the security now. He wanted to stay in Kansas City. Jackson Merrill wanted the security now. He wanted to stay in San Diego, and that's what we're getting. Vladdy Jr. got the security now and got the money. $500 million over 14 years for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Let's talk about the San Francisco Giants. The Giants are good. That's what I have to say about the Giants. The Giants are good. Best record in baseball at 8-1 and in first place in the NL West. And you might be listening or watching now and saying, "You know what? It's the first week of baseball is in the books. Let's pump the brakes." And to that, I would say, I don't care that it's the first week of the season. You're in a division with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres, who each started the year 7-0. And we can sit here after the first week of the regular season and say that the San Francisco Giants are in first place. That is impressive. 7 wins in a row for this Giants team. 8-1, best record in baseball. First place in the NL West. Elliot Ramos is a stud. Mike Yastrzemski looks back to his 2020 self. Wilmer Flores is balling right now. Willie Adames hitting walk-off homers down to their last out of the game, down a run. The pitching has been great. Logan Webb, certified ace. Robbie Ray sort of looks back to his Cy Young form. Justin, one really good start. His last start wasn't great. Bullpen, back into the bullpen is lights out. Tyler Rogers, Walker, Duvall, Hayden Birdsong is in the bullpen right now. I think he's a future all-star in a rotation. That dude is disgusting. Defense is fantastic. Until the other day, they were the only remaining team that hadn't made an error. They now have made an error, but the defense is fantastic. Look, this team is good. I'm not sitting here saying the San Francisco Giants are going to win the NL West. I do believe that is going to be the Dodgers. But I do know when I came out before the season and said, look, I think the Giants are going to finish in third place in this division. Everyone said, oh my God, what a homer. Your brother's on the team. And now all of a sudden, no. Well, yes. My brother is on the team. And I do watch them more. And I am rooting for them. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But if I thought the team was going to be bad, I'd tell you the team is going to be bad. I thought the rotation was going to be really good. I thought the offense was going to be good enough to win ball games. Well, so far, this Giants team, it really hasn't just been about the rotation. The offense has been fantastic. So this team, to me, they're not doing it like the Dodgers. They don't do it like the Yankees. They decided, okay, you know what? We haven't been very good over the last couple of years. But what they did is they believed in their young guys. It's basically a youth movement for them. You know what? We believe in Elliot Ramos as a stud outfielder. And you look around this team, and it's hard to disagree with that. So far, the offense has been fantastic. The pitching's been great. Defense really good. This Giants team, it's not a fluke that they're this good. Again, people are going to hear what I'm saying and overreact. I'm not saying they're better than the Dodgers. I'm not saying they're going to win the division. But what I am saying is the Giants are good. And all of a sudden, you look around the league and you say, wait a second. The Braves are off to an absolutely abysmal start. So now all of a sudden, this NL wildcard race that we all thought, okay, in the NL East, division winner, 2 wildcards. Phillies, Braves, Mets. There's going to be 1 extra wild card for the NL West. Who grabs it? Okay, well, hold on a second. Now all of a sudden it's, well, maybe we were a little off there. Maybe all of a sudden there's the division winner in the NL East and then 1 wild card. And now maybe there's 2 spots for 3 teams in the NL West between the Giants, the Padres, and the Dbacks. And all of a sudden, the Giants are off to the best start of anybody in baseball, and their team looks really good. And if you keep playing good at the trade deadline, you add maybe a big bat somewhere in that lineup. All of a sudden, the question becomes, okay, wait, now maybe there's 2 spots for the NL West wildcards. And now maybe Giants, D-backs, Padres, who can grab 2 of those 3? And I'm not saying the Braves aren't going to make the playoffs, but at least their slow start has allowed us to think that way. Okay, maybe the Braves do claw back and get in the playoffs. But maybe the Mets don't make it. Maybe the Phillies look great, but maybe the Mets don't make it. Maybe the Braves don't make it. So now there is room. Now all of a sudden it's not, okay, division winner and 2 NL East wild cards. There's 1 up for grabs. I don't think the up for grabs team is going to come from the NL Central. I do think it comes from the NL West. And now maybe it's 2 up for grabs in the NL West. And now all of a sudden you're thinking this Giants team is really good. Maybe they can grasp on to a playoff spot. So really good spot. Really good start for the San Francisco Giants. And I'll say it one more time because I've been saying it every day on social media. Listen here and listen close, everybody. The San Francisco Giants are good. Remember that. Do they win the division? Probably not. But are they good? Yes. This is not a fluke start for the Giants. The Braves do have some issues, by the way. The Braves team that I talked about flew all the way to Atlanta to save their season. If you saw it on social media, I did fly to Atlanta. I said it was to save the Braves season because I have them winning the World Series. What I was actually doing there was hosting a national pregame show on FanDuel Sports Network, but I turned it into I'm there to save the Braves season. They hadn't won a game. They're my World Series pick. Was I bad luck for picking them? I don't know, but I flew all the way there, said I was there to save the season. Then they won a ball game 10-0, and then I left. And then they lost again to the Marlins. So maybe I just need to move to Atlanta to save the Braves season. The Braves, are they in trouble? Look, I have concerns. I still believe in the Braves. I still think the Braves can be really good. I didn't believe in the Braves because of this current team. I believed in the Braves because of the depth they have and Strider coming back and Acuna coming back. You can't win the division in the first week of the year, but you can put yourself in a really big hole the first week of the year, and that's what the Braves have done. Look, pretty much everybody in that team is hitting under 200. Between Michael Harris, Ozzy Albies, Marcell Ozuna, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, they're all under the 200 mark. It's brutal. It is bad for the Atlanta Braves. But do I think those guys are going to hit under 200 all year long? No. I think every single one of those guys is going to hit over 200. I think they're all really good. So whatever the reason for the really slow, really bad start, I don't know. But we're not just all of a sudden saying, okay, yeah, this team's not going to be any good. I do think they're better than this. Obviously, I think the Braves still, by the way, on FanDuel, an odds-on favorite to get into the playoffs. So I know it's a brutal start. The odds still say, hey, this is a playoff team, but the odds have dwindled big time. Do they get in? I don't know. But the Braves have issues. I still believe in them. Maybe I need to start up the worry meter for the Atlanta Braves again. Well, it was the Astros last year. Maybe I need to fire back up the worry meter and make the team this year the Atlanta Braves. But I do think they'll be okay. It's just a really bad start right now and has allowed the conversation to creep in. Maybe there's another wild card spot available that we didn't yet know. Giants are good. Speaking of the Giants, at the end of the Giants game on Sunday, Victor Robles in right field, right fielder for the Seattle Mariners, goes over and makes a play that is one of the best plays you'll ever see an outfielder make. Runs towards the line. Now, most of you listening and watching probably know what right field at Oracle Park looks like, right? Imagine big brick wall, slanted, from shallow and very at the foul pole to goes pretty deep out there to right center field, but it's a tall brick wall. Well, Victor Robles goes ninth inning, tie ball game, runner on first, goes running down the line. There's a ball right in that corner, right near the foul pole, right where the foul pole and the brick wall meet and that net. Goes all out for a baseball, jumps, catches it, crashes into the net, and really, really hurt himself. As at the time of this recording, it's not exactly known what is wrong, but he will miss time. He is badly injured. Whether that be a broken wrist or whether that be a torn shoulder. At the time of this, we're not entirely sure yet. But it's bad. It's not good. He made the catch, was badly injured, went down, held his arm, struggled to get the ball back, struggled to throw the ball. If you haven't seen the play, go watch it. But I posted about it, and there were a couple comments that really pissed me off. So, anybody for 1 second that sees the Victor Robles play and goes, well, he shouldn't have gone that hard after the ball this early in the season. It wasn't worth it. Well, they ended up losing the game on the next batter. Who cares? Cut it out. That pisses me off. The second you start thinking as an elite athlete at the top of your sport The second you start thinking of that way, you actually hurt yourself. You can't think, oh, I need to hold myself back a little bit so I don't get hurt. You can't think that way. I was a right fielder professionally. You can't be running after that fly ball and all of a sudden think to yourself, okay, wait, I think I could catch that ball, but I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to slide before the wall. I'm not going to catch this ball. Absolutely ridiculous. In fact, it pisses me off. First off, it was the ninth inning of a tie game. So the people that are like, well, you ended up losing the game on the next batter. Oh, he didn't know that. Second off, look, play the game 100% or don't play it at all. It's a ridiculous thing to tell a player to take it easy because this isn't that important. One, everyone always says baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. Well, okay, but every game matters just as much. And with these three wild cards that are now in existence, we're going to get to the last week of the year, and teams are going to say, man, I wish we had won that game in April. That was a very winnable game. Wish we had won that game. So sure, it's a long season. There's 162 games, but game 7 matters just as much as game 162. So I just saw that, and as a right fielder myself, it just pissed me off. If you for 1 second are thinking, why would he go that hard this early in the season? Doesn't matter that much. Just don't do it. It was a foul ball. Cut it out. Absolutely ridiculous. One of the greatest plays you'll see an outfielder make. Fantastic. Jumped into the net. What a great play. And it's just unfortunate that he ended up getting injured on the play. But I absolutely loved it. I loved the effort. And if you have something to say about the effort he made, cut it out. These athletes are elite athletes for a reason, and you go 100%. And that's what he did here. You can't tell a guy to come off the brakes. You can't tell a pitcher to go out and only throw 85% instead of 100%, because then you're doing things differently and you're undoubtedly going to get hurt. So, great play. Fantastic play. Victor Robles, one of the best plays of the year so far. A fantastic play. One of the best plays you'll ever see down that right field line at Oracle Park. And I hope him a speedy recovery with whatever ends up being wrong. But something is wrong. What a great play from Victor Robles. Let's talk Detroit Tigers, baby. How about the Detroit Tigers? I'm wearing my shirt. I still believe in torque. I said it before the year. I'll say it again. I got a shirt. Shout out Obvious Shirts. They do a lot of Cubs stuff, but shout out Obvious Shirts for this shirt because I tweeted this. I said, I still believe in torque. And then it was said, you need to get a shirt like that. And then I tweeted out, who can get me a shirt? Obvious Shirts came through, sent it to me immediately, and here we are. The Detroit Tigers, 5-1 in games where they don't play the Los Angeles Dodgers. They got swept by the Dodgers to start the year. They are 5-1 since then. Spencer Torkelson is batting .324 with 2 homers and an OPS of 1.057 and leads me every day to say the words, I still believe in torque. He was the first pick overall in the draft. He hasn't exactly lived up to the potential yet, but I wasn't yet ready to give up. He had a great career at Arizona State, fantastic career through the minor leagues. And then what I've seen from Spencer Torkelson in the big leagues, one, he hit over 30 homers in the big leagues a couple years ago. Last year, really bad. Down year, ends up getting sent down to the minor leagues. This year, what I've seen from him in spring training, what I've seen from him in the regular season is a totally different approach. Different approach at the plate, different stance at the plate. He's really gone back. If you look at his video from last year compared to this year, he's really gone back to the stance he had at Arizona State. And when he got drafted first overall, he's really narrowed up. He's put his weight on his backside a little bit more. Everything looks different for torque at the plate. His outs look different. His strikeouts look different. His approach at the plate is absolutely different. And now we're seeing it pay off big time. Walk-off, down a run on Sunday to the White Sox. They came from behind. Spencer Torkelson comes up in the ninth inning, walk-off double down the line. So this team, all of a sudden, looking really good. I had the Tigers winning the AL Central. They get swept by the Dodgers at the beginning of the year because the Dodgers are incredible. Well, now, since those games, 5-1, team looks really good. Torque looks really good. If this is the year that Riley Green can go from being a stud to a superstar, all of a sudden you go, okay, maybe this Tigers offense is really legit. I was worried about the offense, and I'm obviously not yet ready to say the Tigers offense didn't need Alex Bregman because I do believe it did. But through 9 games, this Tigers offense is 5th in batting average at 269, 4th in slugging percentage, 4th in OPS, 7th in total bases. The offense looks legit. This team is a lot of fun to watch. So all of a sudden, Riley Green takes another step forward and becomes a star in this league. Spencer Torkelson becomes the player that we all thought he was going to be at first. I still believed in Spencer Torkelson. And then you just piece it together with a bunch of Kerry Carpenter, or should I say Kerry Bonds, stud. And then you just like piece it together with matchups. And Parker Meadows isn't even playing right now. Vierling isn't even playing right now. So it's just being pieced together really well. Let's take a moment to appreciate AJ Hinch. I think right now with this Detroit Tigers team, we are getting to see the full potential and be able to appreciate AJ Hinch as the Detroit Tigers manager. And that's not to say when he was with the Astros, he wasn't a great manager. He was. But that roster is different. That roster is full of superstars, was full of superstars. From Alex Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Kyle Tucker, George Springer, all of the names when he was there, he had a roster full of superstars. And AJ Hinch was a really good manager. And that's why we saw the Astros win a championship under AJ Hinch. But it's just different with this team. The way he is managing, and we saw it at the end of last year, the way he manages this team is fantastic. The way he manages this team is that of a mastermind. The way he uses a bullpen, the way in the playoffs last year, AJ Hinch said, we're going to go Tarek Skubal and then chaos. Well, this year's a little bit less than that. You can go Tarek Skubal and then Jack Flaherty and then Jackson Jobe. On Sunday, tough start out of the gate, but ended up coming around and looking good. You have a fun rotation. Bullpen he's piecing together. But even offensively, it's like Andy Ibanez rakes against lefties. When are you plugging and playing him? You have all these pieces that it's like, yeah, this guy rakes against lefties. This guy rakes against righties. Kerry Carpenter rakes against righties. Splits aren't as great against lefties, but he's like a star when he's playing against a righty. So it's like watching AJ Hinch play chess with the Detroit Tigers roster while every other manager is playing checkers with their roster is a joy to watch. And I think he's a big reason for the Detroit Tigers' success. So Tigers are sitting here 5-4, 5-1 since that Dodgers series. They're sitting atop the poor AL Central right now. And as we speak, they're starting a big series with the New York Yankees. So Tarek Skubal, best pitcher in baseball. Jack Flaherty added. Spencer, that's what I said about this team. If Spencer Torkelson can come back and be a middle-of-the-order threat, then all of a sudden this Tigers team is a legit threat. And so far, that has been the case. And I don't believe this has been, I don't think this has been an anomaly with Torque. The approach looks different. The stance looks different. Everything looks different with him. And after he hit the walk-off, this is what Spencer Torkelson said. He said, look, because he came up with the bases loaded and down a run with an out and then with the ninth inning. And he was asked, well, how did you handle that pressure? And he basically said, all the pressure was on the pitcher. He had to throw strikes. The pressure was on him there. And just hearing that is confidence. And a baseball player, especially one with the talent of Spencer Torkelson, playing with that much confidence is a dangerous, dangerous thing. So seeing his approach, seeing his swing, seeing his confidence, all of that is why we're seeing a stud at the plate with Spencer Torkelson. Tigers are good. Spencer Torkelson is back to being the player we thought he could be. I still believe in Torque. Everybody should still believe in Torque. The Detroit Tigers are playing great baseball right now and are here at 5-4 atop the AL Central. Lastly, let's go through the power rankings real quick. I put them out on social media every single Monday. I do want to talk about the top spot, but we're going to go through them quickly to get down to the number one, just in case you all did not see it on social media. But at number 10, I do have those Detroit Tigers. They are new to the power rankings this week. At number 9, the Boston Red Sox. Really good sweep against the St. Louis Cardinals there at home. They look really good. That's the reason. They look right now like the reason I said they would be the 1 seed coming out of the American League. Fantastic. Bregman had his coming out party on Sunday Night Baseball. Red Sox at 9, also new this week. They were out last week. They are back in the power rankings at number 9. At number 8, the Cubs, new to the power rankings. At number 7, down 4 spots, the New York Yankees. Let's talk about that one for a second because the Yankees are leading the division. Why are they 4th? How is that happening? Well, okay. The Yankees just went 3-3 on the week against the Arizona Diamondbacks and then the Pittsburgh Pirates. They won 2 out of 3 against the Pirates, lost 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, who then went and lost a series to the Washington Nationals. So just a mediocre week when the teams above them were not mediocre. So people are going to see and already are seeing Yankees down 4 spots while they're leading the division. What are you doing? Mediocre week. Other teams above them, really good weeks. It's that simple. Yankees at number 7. At number 6, the New York Mets, winners of 4 in a row, swept the Blue Jays. Mets staying put at number 6. At number 5, the Giants. New to the power rankings, all the way up to number 5. Giants are good. Giants have the best record in baseball as we speak. That's why they're all the way up to number 5. At number 4, up 4 spots, the Texas Rangers. I said it again, and I'm not going to pretend like I had the Rangers winning the AL West, but what I did say is the highest ceiling of anybody in the American League West, and arguably the entire American League, is the Texas Rangers. Health is a huge, important factor in that. But we're here after the first full week of the regular season. They're fairly healthy. Jace Young over there at third base, or Josh Young over there at third base, is coming back from injury and is dealt with a little something, but for the most part, fairly healthy and playing really, really good baseball so far. So Rangers up 4 spots to number 4. At number 3, San Diego Padres down 1 spot, lose the series to the Cubs, but still really good team playing great baseball. Dodgers are my number 2 team. The Los Angeles Dodgers down 1 spot because the new number 1 team in this week's power rankings is the Philadelphia Phillies. The Dodgers were undefeated. Dodgers go to Philly, lose a weekend series there to the Philadelphia Phillies, and I have no choice. A lot of people are still going to have the Dodgers as the best team in baseball, but the Phillies are playing great baseball to start the year, and then they get the Dodgers at home and take 2 of 3 in Philly from the best team in baseball. I have no choice. But how can I sit here and put the Phillies at number 2 with a really good record behind the Dodgers when they just beat them in that series? I can't do it. So for right now, the new number 1 team and up 3 spots in my power rankings is the Philadelphia Phillies at number 1. Fun week. A lot going on around the game of baseball. A lot of news. Vladdy Jr. gets his extension after saying he wouldn't talk during the season. Just a reminder to everyone. When there is a player that sets an extension deadline, just don't believe it. Extension deadlines are ridiculous. They're non-existent. It's a player saying, you know what, I'm going to set this deadline to get a deal done because I want to focus on the season. You know what? Money talks. Garrett Crochet said the same thing. Money talks. Okay, we have to get a deal done by this point, or I'm going to hit free agency. Okay, 2 weeks later, the Blue Jays come along and say, hey, we got $500 million for you. And he's like, you know what? Talks are back open. I accept. And then now we're here and everybody's all happy and hunky-dory. So extension deadlines are not real deadlines. That's another thing we learned this week. Giants are good. That's another thing. And how about those Detroit Tigers? Fun show, fun episode. Last one was John Smoltz on the show. So pumped to have him back on this year. The Hall of Famer John Smoltz, an absolute legend and a guy that I love having on the show. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to the last episode of John Smoltz. He tells, in his words, the greatest story he's ever heard about a player taking a stadium giveaway bat and going 5 for 5 in a game and winning a Rolex from Andrew Jones. You got to go hear it. Then we talk about the Braves and their slow start. And then we talk about the Dodgers and Roki Sasaki and if the Dodgers can break the all-time record. And we talk about, I really thought the Braves conversation was a good one with how they're playing right now. But to hear his thoughts on it was great. So really good episode there. Good one here as well. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you're subscribed, following wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. It does really help if you just click that subscribe button for free up in the corner. Leave us a 5-star review. That really helps as well. And watch every episode on our YouTube channel, Flippin' Bats Pod there. We put every episode out. You can watch it all. I'm always in the comments talking to you guys, answering questions, whatever you want. But you can watch everything. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And we're on all social media at Flippin' Bats Pod everywhere. Fun one. New one coming soon. Enjoy this week of baseball. We got John Smoltz coming back on this week as well. Can't wait for that. Great weekend of baseball. A lot to talk about. We're off and running, and we will be back every single week, multiple times to talk all about it here on Flippin' Bats. Love you all. Love this community. Remember, until next time, find your bat and flip it.